Okay, welcome everybody. It is round 5 of the
What's going on in the
WPL.
background?
What's up?
I'm hearing a game in the background.
Oh, are you? I'm not. Let's see what that is. Maybe one of these things is playing? No, it's not. Is everybody hearing it? Okay, maybe it's you, Peter.
Probably was. You asked me to watch something. So I did.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. All right. Let's get this going again. Okay, round 5. Awesome. Everybody just take a second. This is 5th week. So and we have a bye week coming up. So it's a good time to think about where you are mentally with the season, how you're doing, how you're coping, and if you think you can get through the next 10 weeks or whatever we have. So, and I'll tell you, I'm definitely checking in probably as I need bedtime. Lindsay, you may have to tell us more about 7.
It's just a feeling. If you don't feel it, then I can't explain it.
Okay. That's like
Just
when
a
my
blind
cat gets the
pregnancy.
zoomies.
Exactly.
Bob's feeling the love. That's good. Oh, Peter too. This should be a great call then. All right. Shout outs this week, Beantown, for having the best video we've seen, I think possibly all season. Loved it.
Free
2 out of
Jacks.
3 of our, sorry, Peter.
Free Jacks do a professional job.
Oh, is that done by the Free Jackson? That's why?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. When New York had theirs at New York, they still had to video their own. So yeah, but that was great. 2 out of 3 with audio. Tim Lou, Olivia said to give you a shout out for having the a low penalty count, and I think it's probably the lowest penalty count in the history of the WPL. And then Amelia and Jenny, congrats on your assignment to Pack 4. That's awesome. Love to see members of our group do well.
How many penalties did he have?
7.
Oh, that's a tie for Gavin's.
Oh, is it, Gavin? Well, but I think Tim may have more realistically have had 7 penalties.
Oh, that's amazing.
But you can see the score here is 71-7. So
And shout out to you as well. You're also assigned to the Pack 4 as the ref manager.
yes, thank you. Yes, but it's embarrassing to toot your own horn. I like to shout out to you guys, right? But I appreciate it. I'm excited and looking forward to it. So yeah. North Shore dropped to New York 10-48, and then we've got Beantown over Colorado there 20-12. So here's what we look like this week. Beantown there with 20 points on top, and Berkeley right behind them. Berkeley's played less matches. Nope, they both played 4. Okay, New York and Colorado have 5. So still pretty close at the top. Let's do our match reviews. Who wants to start? Nope.
Resume the Amazon Music.
No, Alexa, stop. Sorry, I really am tired. I'm going to get the right window.
We can go.
Okay. Let me see where you are. 3rd one, of course. Thank you, Tim.
So first game back was fun. The game was closer in the first kind of quarter, and then the All Blues really kind of just dominated. And then they actually started with their kind of lesser second team, and then brought on a lot of their starting players. And then it was kind of a waterfall after that. Pretty low penalty count. There wasn't a lot kind of going on. Scrums were kind of a little bit off, and I talked to Olivia maybe about just penalizing instead of managing out and talking through those things. So there was a couple there. But other than that, there was some kind of big picture things that I talked about, and I was coming back from not having a ref from 6 weeks, just kind of working on my positioning, and trying to be in the right place, just kind of getting back in that mindset. So, Olivia, any?
So I just it was on a WPL game, but I watched him before baby, and now we're 4 weeks later post baby, and it was just yes, very low penalty count, but the confidence in his body language from the game I watched before to this game was night and day, and that is just so cool to see when you get to watch a referee more than once in a season. Just that it was just his how he held his shoulders, how he called a penalty, how he moved around the field, and his word choice. So the confidence was throughout just his body language and volume, if you will. It was cool.
Awesome. That's a nice compliment. Thank you for that.
We can start with just number one, high tackle there. So we'll watch this one and then we'll watch the second high tackle. And I just want to get people's kind of thoughts here. So.
Knock on his Annex to blue.
Now left line.
And then a Gilmer. 14 out.
That was it. Maybe you want to show it in
Yeah.
kind of slow motion and get people's thoughts.
I don't remember the clip being that long.
So it's, here it is.
It's this one tracking across, I think. 11. So in the match you played advantage for the knock on, is that right?
Yep. Yep. I did a knock on advantage. Jenny said play on. I played on through this. Anybody else have any other opinions or?
Yeah, I can see absolutely why you played on from your vantage point. But to be honest, I don't think it's a high tackle. Who else has thoughts?
Hey Amanda, it's Andrew. I can see why on review you might think that this would have been a high tackle. When the hit actually happens, the player seems to turn their head sort of right at the last second, and it kind of almost looks like there might be some indirect contact, but I don't think it's clear at all. I think that number 11 just makes a great hit here, and it looks worse than it is because the ball carrier just goes flying after getting blindsided, essentially.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Can you play it one more time at full speed?
Yep. What do you think?
I think I could go either way and I'd be happy with it either way. The tackler is like very upright. And so if you saw it as high, I would be fine with you calling it, but I don't know that it has to be a penalty.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment. Anybody feel strongly? Okay.
So now we can dovetail in and we'll watch the next high tackle and see what people think. Get their thoughts. Yeah, right there.
Bring it up!
High tackle here.
So that was penalty only. What are your thoughts after reviewing it?
I mean, what I saw in the game was the player actually trying to go for the ball as well. But again, it's the same outcome. It looks pretty bad. It looks like, the player is kind of falling back, and then it's the same player again, number 11. So, in this case, I think just the look of it looks it didn't look great, but I feel like they're both kind of going for the ball right there. And, in that she catches the player's head. I think it looks worse than it is. The player, there wasn't hurt, but just kind of looked awkward. So,
Right. Who wants to take this one?
I have a question. Tim, you said looks like they're going for the ball. Is that relevant given how the tackle occurs? Is that piece of information relevant, if that makes sense?
I think it is, because we routinely have referees mitigate or not even sanction for what they would call a rugby incident. So if a player is going for the ball and accidentally elbows another player in the head, for instance, it's foul play, right?
Yeah.
So
and then there's also the situation where, the players going for the ball, are they, and they don't have full control of the ball. Are you able to kind of tackle them? That's, something I dealt with in a past clip that people have probably seen, where there was a knock on and then a player tackled, and, what is that? And so, to me, I just saw Wendy, said yellow card there. I just felt like if the player had the ball completely in hand and running, I could see a yellow card here or a higher sanction, but the ball's kind of in transition. In my mind, 11 was going for the ball, trying to get an intercept or trying to attain the ball. And in that, but then it goes to Olivia's point, does that really matter?
Yeah, I think 11's still responsible for her actions. And
I think we look at the head framework and we're at like low danger, but this is still head contact. It's a yellow for me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Wendy.
Yep.
It feels harsh, but I mean, she has to be responsible for what she's doing.
She's doing upright tackles. How else is she going to learn?
Anna, I saw you had put a comment in there. Did you want to make any comments, or from the maybe coach's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I just said like this player is sort of habitually trying to go for the ball. It's something we've had recent conversations about, and is trying to get more sort of into the headspace to consistently go for the tackle. And I think here she was definitely going for that sort of intercept. And she's talking about how she even mentioned recently, like she got that totally wrong in that first sort of 25 minutes, but then you see Evan pick off the ball in the second half, sort of at the right time and right understanding and context of the game. So it's something that she's definitely working on, but she's also an extremely tall, long player that, her athleticism allows her to sort of get into those intercept situations, but it makes it much more difficult for her to find the right timing to get lower in tackles. So I think Amelia last week probably yellow carded her in the exact right instance in my mind. And in this instance, like it's really hard because it was an intercept attempt as opposed to a tackle attempt, but an intercept attempt gone wrong. So
yeah, and that goes to maybe my point. If ball carrier had the ball and they're running and I see that team tackle, I think that's an easy yellow card. I think for me, it's a little harder when the ball was just kind of in the air and in transition, and there wasn't a possible attempt that the player could get the ball. Just my opinion.
I think Wendy had the right idea though, which is that follow the head contact process, and it's not a tackle. Is going for the ball, but in that they still have to take care not to hit someone else in the head, and there's clear head contact there. If you wanted to down and say, well, it was actually unsighted because she was looking at the ball, not the other head, maybe you could negate it from a yellow to a penalty and have good for that.
Thanks, Amelia. You're breaking up a little bit there, but I think we got the gist of it. So,
Cool, good points.
yep.
So for the third one here, just to kind of set up the kind of thought process here before we go into it. So, at this point of the game, I had recognized that I had to play different advantages for the teams. So the Zons were not able to capitalize on any advantage. So knock on, penalty advantage, they weren't able to kind of gain the yardage, get the go forward, where the All Blues were very different. Any knock on, any kind of penalty, I was allowing them to play. So in this case, you see a knock on advantage to the Zons, and you see them have the ability to kind of have the ball in front of them, but it ends up, they move 5 meters back. They've had about, 7 kind of phases. Should I just reward them here with a scrum to them, or do I play the advantage? So I guess you can play it and kind of.
But can I ask before we even start, is giving the scrum rewarding them? Were they
Were winning ball. There was
Okay.
there was no issues in the scrum. I don't think there was any changes.
Okay, that's useful information.
Yeah.
Step to the right, step to the right. Thank you. Oh! There's a knock on here. Knock on advantage to the Zon. Let it come, man, let it come. Knock on advantage to the Zon. Still knock on advantage. Advantage is over.
Use it all the way! Thanks.
So I guess my question is, you heard me call advantage over. Should I have maybe gone another phase or two, or should I have just at that point maybe blown it up and just gone back to the scrum?
I think you were bang on, Tim, with advantage over.
Yeah.
They had full autonomy to do what they wanted with the ball, and they did it. So that's by definition advantage over scrum advantage, in my opinion there.
Yeah, agree, Miles. In fact, I would have called it over the breakdown before that.
Yep, or the one before, exactly.
But they also had very clean possession, and and they were 4 or 5 meters in front, or 3 meters anyway, in front of where the knock on occurred.
Okay. Last one.
So this is the 38th minute of play of the game, and here this is more of just I recognize there'd been a long passage of play. I recognize that the teams were tired, and this was just an example of me in my head saying, "Wow, everyone's really tired here. What can I do to slow it down?" I mean, you don't need to play it. It's really me just kind of having really slow actions. I actually call the scrum off. I walk across it, and I guess for me, this was just a point where I was like, whoa, I need to slow the game down and let the players kind of recover so that rugby's better instead of just kind of moving through. And I just wanted to kind of, I guess, highlight that process and that thought that trying to add some time to the game, if it's at a line out or a scrum, to allow the players to recover so that you can kind of play to a higher level. So
Props everywhere. Thank you. Do we want to hear the slow crouch bind set?
Free neck adjustment on that one.
Step up a little bit, step up a little bit.
Thank you. Squeeze!
Crouch! Bind!
I see it's unstable, and then I give them another 30 seconds here I walk across it. And it was just a thing that I thought about, and somebody told me, as the referee, you can kind of artificially take time for yourself if it's after a line out or at any time, so you can control the pace of the game, so that if you see the players are tired, giving them that opportunity to do that. So, Olivia, did you have anything to add there? I know you had some.
No, you just had way too much ball and play time. Way too much. It's a joke, guys.
I was going to say, I don't know. There was a lot of time taken up with conversion kicks in this game.
Well, okay, but
May have averaged out.
That was a joke, so I'm just laughing now.
Thank you, guys. Lindsay, are you good to go next?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had Chicago versus New York. My goals going into it were minimizing the talking, trying to be a little less like chatty and casual with them, but saying the sanction color and number more frequently. The second was managing every scrum. I'm working hard to get a good platform. And the third was checking in at the 20s and working on the narrative. The scrum goal, I wouldn't say was accomplished because there were 10 whole scrums for the whole game, only 2 by halftime. So it was very much a lot of ball and play and not much in terms of the set piece really. So not a ton to work with there, but I did improve on saying the color number, which made me very happy, and got a lot better of keeping track of the penalties and penalty counts in my head. I think I could cut down on a couple, but I escalated appropriately, I think, and was happy like I addressed a trend by like about 45 minutes. So that was good for me. About 20 minutes in, I had some pretty bad foul play that happened behind my back. As a team of 3, we did not get it, unfortunately, and I think that shook the confidence of New York a bit, which I think was fair enough. I even told like their captain, I understand you're upset and I get it, but I can't call something if none of us have seen it. Report it, cite it, we'll get it taken care of that way, but like can't do anything right now. So I think that shook the confidence a little bit. So that was sort of my check-in with myself, was like, okay, I have to keep working hard, let that go, and rebuild that trust. And I think I did by the end. They were a little bit talkative for a bit after that point, but I talked to their captain and told her to get her team under control, and they did. So I felt pretty good about that eventually. Yeah, let me look at clips.
How did you do with that first goal of minimal talking?
Better. I would not say it's a work in progress. I still was a bit open to some of their chatter. Their 9 especially likes to talk, because like their 9 and their, I want to say 1, have some back chat problems, and I humor them too frequently. So still some work to do, but I at least was not explaining every single call or being like, this was this sort of this blah, blah, blah. I was just saying like offside, green 11 for the most part.
Nice. Good work. Do you want to start with number 1?
Yeah. I did not see this in the game, but in the clips, I don't like the way this looks, but I'm not 100% sure on how material it is. If you look at the player in kind of like a 13-ish type position, she starts in front of the ball carrier, and then you can kind of judge the contact.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have tried to look at this in the clips or not. It's going to be hard to see.
You got to turn your head like this.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to zoom in and run it slow and see if we can kind of get the gist of it. I don't want to zoom in like that. Let's see. So ball is here. There's the obstruction. Try it again. There. It's tough. It's a really tough angle. I have my thoughts. Is anybody watching this want to say what they think? What are our criteria for calling obstruction? Let's start there. Who wants to take that?
Yeah, hey,
Yeah, hey, it's Marty.
Hey, Marty.
I think is the obstructing player in a realistic position to catch the ball is the first
Right.
thing, and then
Mhm.
do they obstruct defensive lines changing? So I think if that person starts from an offside position, I can't really tell from the video, but that's how you felt on the day. Then I think then it's on the player to not get in the defender's way of making that tackle.
Right. I agree. Thank you, Marty. That's helpful. Anyone else have anything? Okay. I think calling obstruction here would be a good choice. What's next?
The next is the missed foul play.
So yeah, this was cited for those of you who don't know yet. Yeah, Lindsay, you kind of talked about that earlier, didn't you?
Yeah. The act in and of itself, like it's pretty egregious. It's pretty obvious it's a red card. I don't think there's going to be any questions there. I guess more of my discussion type question is, how can I better prepare my ARs for these types of things? I'm writing up this like PDF about like how I, want help and that sort of thing. And it's sort of more of a high level, like what I would say like a WPL level type expectations. But then I don't feel like the support that I've been getting has been doing much, even in terms of leading and trailing, or they're sticking their flag out to mark the offside line, or they're calling in ruck penalties. And so I'm just curious about people's like communication before the match with their ARs, about prep for catching foul play. And then also like as a team of three, how do you recover after this? Because we all lost credibility because of this, not just me. And there was some, griping at the ARs throughout the game, and that's not really fair to the ARs, but it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at it. I wanted to actually blow it up differently. So what happens there? Let's try doing it this way. Watch on the side of the ruck here.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Balls away.
So it's the AR on the close to the
Flat
camera
out.
side of the field who's responsible.
Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so ball's
Yeah.
moving away, so it'd be a trailing AR call, I guess. And they've got all those bodies between them and where it happens.
I mean, Lindsay, this is really hard because you're not consistently going to get the same ARs more than likely. It's hard to build that relationship. It's hard. I hear you saying you want to give them ownership of this piece, and you're right to do that. This one I think we just got to work with what we have, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is Tim. I agree with Wendy. I mean, also to the position of it, it's in the middle of the field. And so it's, relatively far from the hours. If it's right there on the touchline or 10 meters in, they can own that more. But, that's like midfield. That's a lot harder to kind of just get such a good eye on. So, and for you, it's behind the ball, right? So it's just a tough one altogether.
Yeah, I was completely unsighted. Clearly, like I'm moving away. I had a word with my ARs at half and was just kind of like, something happened for sure based on the reaction. Let's keep a very close eye on the afters, like watch behind my back, and they're going to have lost some trust in us. So like, let's work hard and catch anything else that happens. But I'm not sure if anybody has any other like
Lindsay,
very
I'm just
team
curious.
building things.
I'm curious, like from your side or anyone else on this call, like if there's any indication with sort of players' demeanor or like like sort of chat that happens leading up to things, because I think sometimes players can get pretty hot and, their team, like there's just a lot of chatter sometimes that's happening. And I'm curious if that type of thing, like leading up to this, is something we might be able to notice, or if it's something like, this is just totally out of the blue. Like there's no, you can hear people on film saying like, rah, 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 rah. There's always somebody, the joy of sound for WPL games, right? But I'm just curious if there's any sort of like, I don't know, noticeable sort of movement in players' demeanors leading up to incidents that might be able to help. I don't know.
I definitely
And I
think
don't know if in this situation, if there was a lot of chat or anything that might help. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I definitely think sometimes we see stuff like this, and we'll know they're
There we
hot
are.
under the
Like up.
hot under the collar. I'm not sure when this particular one happened though, how far into the game it was.
Around 25.
Oh, that's
25.
right. Yep, 25, I remember.
25 minutes in.
Was it just an isolated incident or
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
never noticed anything else from 13. I feel like one preventative management thing I try to do to not have these things happen is call like any foul play early. Or like later on in the game, I called Chicago for like leading with the elbow. And it was a pretty gentle lead with the elbow, but she did like make contact with an elbow. And to me, going ahead and calling that prevents the flashpoints like that side of the ruck thing later. And as an AR, I try to look for any like when players start doing that hanging on, like pushing thing back and forth around the rucks is when I start to linger at them more frequently and watch for that. So maybe that's some advice I can hand down to my next set of ARs.
seems reasonable? If anybody else has anything on that one, or should we move on?
Hey Amanda, it's Andrew. I have one thing. I don't know if this is necessarily helpful for our ARs on sort of a day in, day out basis, but something that I was talking with Khalil about a couple of weeks ago on ARing and really how and where to focus your attention and your energy that I hadn't really thought about before. He told me that you kind of have to know where foul play is going to happen and like what those flashpoints are going to be before you can actually really go looking for it. And like, for Lindsay and something like this situation where it really seems like this was like a one-off type deal, it's really difficult to, put your ARs in a position to keep watch on something like that if there's no like, indication beforehand, if there's like a push and a shove. But I think it's worth having maybe having that in your briefing or that PDF that you're writing up and saying something along the lines of like, the flashpoints for us are going to be as players are separating at like rucks or scrums or mauls or whatever it might be, those big areas of game. And just saying, if you linger here like 1 or 2 seconds, you might find nothing and you're just going to come up with dirt, or you might get lucky 1 out of 100 times and come up with a gold nugget, and that's like really what we would want there. I don't know if anyone else had heard your ARing responsibilities thought about in that way, but that was like totally new to me, and it's kind of changed the way I'm looking on the field as well.
Thank you, that's useful. Lindsay, do you want to go with this one?
Yep. So this one is just more of a management question. Like I said, I didn't have a ton of set pieces. So there were, a reasonable amount of lineouts before this. I had reset 2 of them for some little like free kickable type things, but it was earlier and I was fine just resetting. And so this one has like 3 separate things that kind of go wrong, and I go with the penalty at the end. And I'm just curious if it would have felt fairer to just go with like the very first free kickable infringement.
for you. You can stand on it, yeah. White, yeah. One.
Yeah, so head up early, then it's thrown not straight, and then green comes through the line out, and it's offside.
Who has thoughts here? Let's hear from a ref.
Hey, it's Jenny. For me, I think the clearest thing is that up early, and then you are letting it breathe, kind of seeing if New York can win the line out clearly. But everybody has seen that, so that might be the clearest thing, just to free kick that, and then you can kind of save yourself a penalty because that was the first thing.
I like the not straight call. I know that green goes up early, but they come down and white uses them coming down to jump. So they're basically gaining the advantage for them jumping early because you manage them down, and then it's not straight.
That was a bird. Do you think the jumper coming up early though affects them not throwing it straight? I mean, I don't know. I guess you can see that. I can see that.
Okay.
I think even if the jumper being up early did not affect straightness of the throw, that you absolutely lose credibility if you call that not straight. If you call that not straight, all New Yorkers can be saying, well, what about the up early?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
I feel like the answer though is quite simple. Like, yeah, they went up early and then they came down and you jumped up and they couldn't match you.
I think anytime something bad happens at a line out after the up early, like if New York has a not straight or maybe they knock the ball on, then you have to give the benefit of the doubt to New York that it happened because their timing was off because Chicago went up early. Does that line of logic make sense?
It does. And keep in mind, Chicago didn't go up and contest
Yeah.
the throw.
Not material, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I make one comment, Lindsay? Your positioning at the end, you're kind of like in the throw, like the running line of the hooker. Like if the hooker is going to come around and help, or the hooker is going to come around and get that ball. I would either kind of be in closer or maybe further away or be on the move, because you can see right here. So the hooker throws, and like where she wants to go is kind of right where you're at. So if you're tuck yourself in closer, or you're further away, or you're on the move. But you kind of don't want to linger in that channel because the hooker is trying to come around and do something.
Yeah, I think Bob had some feedback about my positioning and following that ball at the line out. I think I pretty much in my head knew I was never going to let this ball go anywhere at that point. So I wasn't exactly taking a running line. I was like, something has to be done here because everything is wrong. But
yeah.
Which one?
Is anyone okay with just doing a redo? Like, Chicago's up early, but New York throws it not straight. And sure, the next thing was offside, but we've just both had an infraction on either side. So let's just start over.
Yeah, but how many redos has she had already? And what were
I
they
don't know.
for? Lindsay, didn't you
had
say you'd
two.
already had a couple of do-overs?
Yes, I had two. One for New York up early and one for something Chicago did. I don't
Did you
remember.
say anything?
Oh, they
after
left the
that?
line out. Yeah, I said to both of them, I'm giving you one warning before I free kick you.
Okay, so then that answer to me is that it's got to be a free kick against Chicago because you've already warned them.
Yeah.
And New York already committed that infraction.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Cool. I think we can move on. Last one for me, just a breakaway run with a cover tackle. Curious if y'all would have called ball carrier not releasing or play on.
There for you.
So what's the expected outcome right this second?
Probably a turnover because she's isolated and the support's slow.
Yeah, that's the best we're going to get out of this clip. Like, I don't think you're really going to be able to see whether she latched well or whether, you know, but what you can see is the expected outcome right now is Green gets this ball. She's good enough through that gate.
Yep, and tackler's totally away.
Yeah, the tack that was the kicker, right? Because
Yeah.
if you look right here, now you're tracking and you're thinking, okay, well, the tackler's not going to roll. She's going to clip the gate, you know, but you get a little bit further into this and now you're like, all right, well, the expected outcome is ball carrier.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can't see well enough.
It's hard to tell. I told her it's boom, boom. Either way, I think someone's going to question it, but I did mention expected outcome.
That's the best we're going to get out of that clip, unless somebody is seeing something that I don't see. Feel free to jump in and correct me. But last but not least, Jenny Lou. Bob, did you have anything to say about Lindsay's game? Sorry, I skipped over you.
No, that's quite all right. She had. I thought she had a great game. I mean, we had that unfortunate incident at 25. You move on, you gain. She worked to get that rapport back, and she was able to gain it. You know, she did talk about she only had a couple scrums, and it really couldn't define what she was working on. I disagree. Whether you have 12 scrums or 30 scrums, you set your standard, you've maintained the standard, and there's a safety measure that goes all the way through. You successfully managed that scrum, and I thought she did an excellent job. So kudos to her. The last thing about her talking, she did mention it, and she did mic herself up, so that was great. Yeah, it's that little extra talking, you know, that hey, be short and direct. And those times that she didn't is when you found the players talking back, right? You give them the leash, you know, the line, they'll take it. So, but great job by her. I was very impressed.
Good, thank you. Lindsay, any last words?
No, I think that's it. I had fun, and I improved on most of my goals there. So it's a good step for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Jenny, Lou, and Wendy. I'm cognizant of the time here. We're at 9:45, so.
Yes, this was a great contest. It was at the Free Jack Stadium, and like you said, they had awesome film, so this was nice to review. A sunny day, very competitive. In the first half, it felt like Beantown was infringing more, but then when I went back and looked at the penalty count, it was actually really even. And then in the second half, their penalties started to climb a bit under pressure. And it was difficult for me to find a clear trend to latch onto. And I saw Peter after the game, and he suggested, oh, why don't you actually, you know, map it out and see where they were. So, oh crap. Blur. So I did that. And so this was an interesting exercise just to see what types of penalties and where they were. So the string of penalties were like here, which was a really soft penalty against Beantown. Here, I was too specific, and I said, if that player comes on the side again, they're going off, but that could have been more general. And then this one, I was like, I don't know. And then I actually yellow carded a dangerous tackle. But I thought that was just an interesting exercise for folks to try, especially as we're trying to get better at escalation and figuring out trends. But
Can you screenshot or can you take a picture of that and drop it into the WhatsApp chat?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
everybody can see what you did.
Yeah,
Not right now,
definitely.
just when we're done or whatever, but
Yeah.
that'd be cool to look at. Thank you.
No problem. All right, cool. Oh, sorry, Wendy, do you have anything to add?
I learned that from Richard Every. He always would have it just side by side and timed, and it is fantastic. I still do it when I look at film, that penalty, how you look at the penalties. But yeah, Jenny had a great game. It was super close. It was in Colorado's hands at the end of the match, and I think they, maybe a couple penalties or recognitions going the other way, and we're talking about Colorado potentially winning it. It was that close. And I don't mean to say Jenny did anything wrong or affected the outcome. I think there were several things that affected that.
Cool.
All
This
right.
one was missed by the team of 3, and it is a neck roll. And wanted to know what the group thinks. Yellow card or maybe something more.
Were you mic'd?
No.
Okay. There it was.
I was looking at the ball, and then the contact was on the other side of this player, so I completely missed this.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual movement pattern for a gator roll, huh? Just pulls her through right on her head. Anyone involved in the MLR this year have thoughts about how they might handle this? Miles, Millie?
Does her head hit the ground?
Sure looks like it.
I think it does.
Honestly, we probably wouldn't call it, and it would just get cited, and there would be maybe a 6-week suspension.
Yep.
That's fair.
But I would say I'm happy with a red card. But obviously you have to see that.
Yeah, you have to see it. Yep.
That her
And you
head
don't
hits
want
the
to
ground.
overreact also. Like from an AR perspective, Amanda, I think you're asking, like it has to be clear and obvious. I don't know if this would have been from an AR perspective.
So you probably would have played through it,
Yeah.
not called it in.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously other tools, right? We have, but live, probably not coming in there because I see the referee standing right there. So that's just my personal, but yeah, generally neck rolls are a little bit more, like the textbook kind of neck roll you see, but I mean, that could be construed as one.
I don't necessarily think it's a neck roll per se, because she's not moved by her neck. Maybe she is, but my problem is that her head is driven into the ground. And I had a tackle like that in a I think Lindenwood match in like 2017. And the picture of that haunts me because the girl fractured her skull. And I
Oof.
gave a yellow card, even though I said she drove her head into the ground. And I think if you think about what those words are, it has to be red. Maybe that's just trauma speaking.
No, it's actually a good way to think about it. It's almost, she pulls her through the ruck and onto the head.
Right. And the way that she's supposed to do that is it's supposed to be a gator roll, and it's supposed to be around the body, which would put her head up. But
Right.
instead she pulls her head down and collapses the ruck, which is already illegal.
Uh-huh. Okay. What else you got, Jenny?
Okay, number 2.
Oh yeah, this one's fun.
Yeah, Beantown is isolated. Okay, so number 8 uses they them pronoun just for a discussion point. And 8 is isolated, falls down. Gray is immediately on the ball, they're on the body. But then 8 stands up to retain possession. But then red 7 is on Gray's neck. So what is the best call?
Yeah, generally, this is Miles. Generally, Jenny, when I see simultaneous like that, the foul play always trumps.
Yeah.
Like a, not releasing whatever I think he called here. So I definitely go with the, the foul play and then admonish the player.
Yeah, I wish we had slightly better video because I'm not convinced that player's moved by the head. She's definitely got her under the armpit on one side, and it looks like on the other side too, and it's the elbow part of her arm that's twisting the head and making it look like that, which maybe is over analyzing, but
I feel like she does move her with the head.
it's inside arms around the body for sure, and so is the outside one, but then it slips up as she rolls her. So, yeah, that's going to be a judgment call, I guess, and a wish for better video. So if we have foul play trumps, but ball carrier not releasing makes sense without the foul play part.
Okay.
Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah, eight lost her
Oh,
ability to stand
there.
up when the defender was over her going for the ball.
Okay. Well put. Thank you.
No guarantee that you're gonna get all the options at every time you're tackled or you go to ground.
This is an off the ball tackle, and I do give a yellow card for this, and I'm wondering if it should have been more.
Okay, why are you wondering if it should be more? I mean, I see why. I want you to say the words.
It looks, yeah, it looks, I don't think it's head to head, but I think that red 7 hits gray 4 in the neck with their head. Direct contact. Obviously high 4s.
Neck is
always
neck
upright.
is part of the head for these purposes.
Tackler always upright. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got an upright tackler, and that looks like the chin. So direct contact to the head. Anybody else see different? Because I'm at red.
I don't see different here. I just have a question, like moving forward on something like this. If that the ball carrier, the gray player who does not in possession of the ball gets tackled without the ball, but if there's still an option on that, like just outside the left hip of the ball carrier, at what point do you run the risk of being an option and being a ball carrier when the pass is that tight? Like, I'm not in this clip in particular. I think I know that I agree with that sanction, but yeah, at what point does that option no longer become an option?
Marty, I'm not tracking the question. I'm sorry.
If the potential receiver is going to receive the ball here,
4?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
4. If they're gonna potentially break the line and then red 7 is going to make that tackle, at what point do you take away that red 7's power for making that tackle? I'm guessing. If I'm still not making sense, I could.
No, flat out can't tackle until she has the ball. You can't do a preemptive tackle.
Does she not have does white 4 not have the ball
No,
there?
two
Okay.
has the
Oh,
ball.
okay. Okay. Thank you. That's where my question was.
White 4 never had the ball.
4 is actually pretty close to obstructing.
Great. I thought there was a transfer there as well. So, okay.
Yeah, no, it is hard to see.
Yeah. My question makes no sense then.
So I'm super
Thanks.
happy with the yellow card given on the day. So good job with that, Jenny. That would be a pretty hard thing to see as red.
Yeah,
live
I didn't actually
with all the
see-
bodies. I'm
I didn't
surprised
see
you
the
even saw it.
contact. Yeah. Because
'Cause-
the ball carrier and then that tackler, the other tackler was
Yeah.
in front.
Yeah, look
Okay.
where you are, and then this is what you're barely going to see that. So it's amazing you got it with a yellow. So good work.
Would that be a good opportunity to do a quick check with your AR?
Yes.
Just
I
a
wish
real
that I
quick.
would have talked to them and gotten more information.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Jenny?
Nope. Thank you for the
Alright.
feedback.
We're happy. Thank you. I did have one clip that I wanted to look at. That was from your match. Just want everybody to think about what we are expecting to happen here. I think it's great that you got them all collapse. I feel like we knew who it was. It was 7, so we can pretty easily call it cynical and card it. And then if we do that, this thing was really on the trot. So then I'm at penalty try.
Yep.
I think all of us as referees need to recognize Beantown is working really hard on this mauling attack. And they're doing it well. They're forming them well without obstructing. And so we need to referee it when that attack advantage is taken away from them. So I was happy to see the penalty. And then I think we need to also continue the thought process. Anyone else? Think I'm being too harsh?
Well, Amanda, I think let's talk about that a bit more.
Okay.
And just really, instead of leading with definitely PT, like what would be counterpoints?
Okay. I would love to hear that.
I think the time in the game, this seems very early on, so.
It absolutely is 6 minutes into the match.
Yeah, this is their Colorado's second penalty. But to your point also, that thing is moving.
Yeah, I'm conflicted. I see your point, Amanda. I think about the time in the match. I think about the temperature of the match. Of course, I wasn't there. I think this is a case of referee reviewers would be like, all right, all that story makes sense, bang, bang, bang. Audience is like, what the hell?
Could we have played advantage here?
That's what I was about to say, is I think if we could have played a little bit longer and seen what happened,
yep,
would be the only thing I would say differently. And Jenny and I haven't chatted yet, but yeah.
Well, and I think one of the things is we all have prior knowledge of the strength of Beantown's maul. And so I mean, I guess the counterpoint would be at this early in the game, we be depending on our overall knowledge of their strength. And then do we all think that this is indeed a probable try, which I'm giving counterpoints. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
The ball is right here in the middle with the 8 when this sort of happens. And then Jenny's already.
So they go in, they drop it, and they score.
Well, I'm just saying the ball is still kind of secure here with the 8 in the middle of this mall. When Jimmy
Yeah,
goes.
this
so-
is
Yeah, Lindsay, what do you got? I see your hand raised. I'm sorry.
Well, I had two questions kind of counterpoints. First, was the mall actually collapsed? Because yes, I could see the player took another player out of the mall, which I think is illegal, and I could see penalizing or playing advantage for, but the mall's not actually down from what I can tell. Like the ball carrier's still there in the middle, so I would be more inclined to let it roll in and let it keep going because it's still kind of up. And
Yeah,
then my
that's
other
completely fair.
question, sorry, what'd you say, Jenny?
Oh, no, that's completely fair.
We got side entry by 4 here anyway. But
Yeah, so I can
you're
totally
not
see
gonna
penalizing this and playing, I guess, playing advantage for that. But if you do, like, let's say, yeah, you're sure this is a penalty try and you've already decided that, I would not play advantage because what's better than 7 points? Like,
Right.
just go give 7 points.
And the card.
Yeah, and the card. Like, you're not going to get better than that. And you also, like, have to go back and explain what the card's for. So if you have already reached that place in your mind where you're like, this is a probable try and it's over because of this infringement, I wouldn't play advantage. I would just give the points in the card.
Yep, good point.
But yeah, I don't think the mall's collapsed, personally.
Yeah, I also don't think that you need to have had several driving malls to establish in this game that they can drive it. I think just what they went from 6 to 2. 4 out of the 6 meters they needed to travel before it got dropped, and they went there quickly. I think that's very clear penalty try.
Okay.
Cool.
So
That's how
something
it
I want
felt
us to
live
be,
anyway.
something I want us to be thinking about as we move forward in the season, and it could be critical for Beantown. So, all right. So just real quick, because we are at time, what's going well? Referee movement patterns this week looked improved. Everybody is making a conscious effort to move with purpose. So that's awesome. And then for the most part, we did get quick ball across the matches. I still think we have opportunities to get our escalation right. I did see moments of greatness though, where it's definitely improved over week 1. So that's awesome. This is weekend's a bye weekend. Just no games. Everybody hopefully is going to chill out and enjoy the holiday. We will not have a call on Thursday 6/1. I will try to go into Zoom and cancel the call so that so it doesn't show up reminding you to get on the call. But anyway, no call on Thursday. And then when we come back, we have got round 6 and we'll have Timlu. I think I have this backwards. This is a home game, right? It's the All Blues are.
That's Amanda, that's me. I'm in Chicago.
Well, who knows? What I've done here is clearly just wrong. Yeah. Okie dokie. And then
And
Michael
Andrew and I
Lawrence-
look the same anyways, it's okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're both dudes. Mike Lawrenson is in Colorado. Hopefully that's right. And Lindsay, are you going to Beantown?
I believe I'm going to Minneapolis.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna redo this slide. My bad. I think that's it for the week. Thank you guys all for showing up. I appreciate it.